If you were standing outdoors, looking at the distant and reddening sky 250 million years ago, as the Permian mass extinction was just beginning, unless you were right way up north there in that area that's now known as Siberia, where the huge volcanic eruption that triggered the Permian mass extinction was happening, for the first 10,000 years or so, you would have anywhere else on the planet, other than noticing that the skies are getting redder and that the weather seems to be changing, you would have no idea that a tipping point had just been passed and soon 95% of all life on Earth would be dead. It's almost impossible to identify tipping points except in retrospect. For example, we've almost certainly already passed the tipping point to an ice-free Arctic. And we are just now realizing it, even though that tipping point was probably passed a decade or more ago. This is critically important stuff because in the history of our planet, there have been 5 times when more than half of all life on Earth died. They're referred to as mass extinctions. One of these, the one that killed the dinosaurs, was initiated by a meteorite striking the Earth. The rest all appear to have been initiated by tectonic and volcanic activity. But in each case, what happened was that massive amounts of carbon-containing greenhouse gases, principally carbon dioxide, were released from beneath the Earth's crust and up into the atmosphere. And this provoked enough global warming to melt billions of tons, actually trillions of tons, of frozen methane on the ocean floors. And that pulse of methane, an intense greenhouse gas, then brought the extinction to its full intensity. While in the past it took continental movement or an asteroid to break up the crust of the Earth enough to release ancient stores of carbon into the atmosphere, we humans have been doing this very aggressively for the past 150 years by drilling and mining fossil fuels. Actually, arguably for the past 1,000 years. I mean, we've been burning coal for 1,000 years. We just got really good at it about 150 years ago with the Industrial Revolution. And also, 1865 was when Colonel Drake drilled the first commercial oil well in Titusville, Pennsylvania. So the question, will several centuries of burning fossil fuels release enough carbon into the atmosphere to mimic the effects of past volcanic and asteroid activity and provoke a mass extinction? Geologists who study mass extinctions are becoming concerned. More and more research is coming out about this, about these massive stores of methane in the Arctic and around the continental shelves. And so climate scientists are beginning to take notice too. The fossil fuel companies are sitting on roughly 2 trillion tons of underground carbon. That in and of itself is enough to warm the Earth by 5 or 6 degrees Celsius and is an amount of carbon consistent with tipping points during past mass extinctions. There are an additional estimated 2 trillion tons of methane stored in the Arctic and probably 2 to 5 times that much around continental shelves all around the Earth. If our burning fossil fuels warms the ocean enough that the methane melts and is quickly released into the atmosphere, the Earth will be in its sixth mass extinction. And make no mistake about it, the plants and animals that are hit heavily by mass extinctions are those that are the largest and at the top of the food chain. That means us. So we got to stop the carbon madness and move worldwide to renewable 21st century energy sources. And that's why we've produced this short documentary on this topic and a short ebook titled Last Hours of Humanity. And you can find all that at lasthours.org. Please check it out and share it with as many friends as possible. The future of humanity is at stake. I mean, check out this website, lasthours.org, and then share it with 10 friends. This message needs to go viral. We need climate scientists. It's interesting. When we were putting this video together, I had no problem finding geologists who were willing to talk about mass extinctions because that's what they study. I started telling you about this in the last hour, that in 1960, they had no idea what caused either the Permian mass extinction or the KT extinction, the one that killed the dinosaurs. By the 1990s, they had figured out it was a meteorite that killed the dinosaurs, but they still didn't know what caused the Permian mass extinction. And in the late 90s and early 2000s, some really, really good research was done, particularly by a guy named Paul Wignall out of the UK. And he's in the movie, where they found this layer of rock. They explored South Africa, Antarctica, Greenland. The Greenland was the real mother lode. They found this layer of rock from the Permian mass extinction. And in the middle of this layer of rock, right at the time when everything died, there was this massive signature of carbon-12. And he asked the question, what's this carbon-12 doing here? Carbon-12 is it's methane. It's released by rotting plants. But there wasn't enough plant material on the planet Earth at that point 250 million years ago to produce that much carbon to show up in the fossil layer. So how did it get there? And he published a paper basically asking that question. And then Jerry Dickens, another guy who's in our movie, says, well, I know how it got there. That was a methane release. That wasn't living plants rotting. That was hundreds of thousands, maybe tens of millions of years worth of plants that had rotted and sunk to the bottom of the sea and frozen as methane crystals. And the Earth warmed up enough that methane got liberated into the atmosphere, and boom, you got this huge carbon-12 signature in the rock. And in 2002, scientists put this together, and the BBC did a documentary on this called The Day the Earth Nearly Died. If you go over to YouTube and just plug in The Day the Earth Nearly Died, it'll pop up as the top 1 or 2 or 3 videos. It's a 1-hour-long BBC documentary. And it lays out how the scientists had figured out, now this is 2002, how the scientists had figured out that the Permian mass extinction was caused by this volcanic eruption in Siberia releasing enough carbon dioxide that it warmed the Earth by 6 degrees Celsius. And that in turn warmed the ocean by 6 degrees, and that was enough to cause the methane in the ocean to melt, turn into a gas, go into the atmosphere, and warm the entire world by 12 or 20 degrees. And that killed off all the life on Earth. And the amazing thing is that when the BBC made that documentary, which you can still watch, it was a decade ago, when they made that documentary saying, aha, we have figured out what caused the Permian mass extinction. At that point in time, the climate scientists had not yet perfected, there was still some debate about global warming. The climate scientists had not yet perfected the climate models to the point where they were saying, carbon dioxide is going to go above 400 parts per million in the next decade and a half. They were not suggesting that. And we're going to see, we're going to see at least a degree of warming in the next 15 years. They were not suggesting that. Well, here we are. And so now the message that, and I'm really emphatic about this, the message that I'm trying to get out, and not just me. There's as I said, this has been endorsed by Kumi Naidoo, the executive director of Greenpeace International, by Al Gore, chairman of the Climate Reality Project, by Lester Brown, the president and founder of the Earth Policy Institute and the World Watch Institute, by Michael Brune, the Sierra Club, by Bobby Kennedy Jr., by Dennis Hayes, president of the Billet Foundation, Tom Weiss, president of Climate Crisis Solutions, Who Pam, Rachel's Network. What we're trying to get out is wake up.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Because rising oceans, big problem. But extinction, there's nothing left. It's a bigger problem.